Next on Kapp Tech, we have Believe It or Not, 15 strange but true stories. Do not worry, I changed the name change the name of the participants of these stories in order to protect the guilty. Thank you. First, we'll cover the Caitlyn Park debacle, starring myself and Rudy. Caitlyn Park is a small park near Ottawa, Illinois. We went camping there many years ago at a time when it was closed. We brought some Playboys that we picked up at a garage sale. We were staying in Rudy's van. As you can see, here's a picture of it here. And we brought some garage doors with us to put on top of the van because there was a couple leaks, or I should say regular doors. And we used some as firewood and some to cover the leak. And we also brought some screwdrivers from a family function that was going on that day. Long story short, we were being asked to leave by a cop in the wee hours of the morning, had some garage doors still on top of the van, and when we went to go pull out, the doors fell off the van and back onto the cop car. Number 2. Naked woman on the 32nd floor. I got off the elevator at this condo here, 345 North LaSalle, and one of my neighbors, a woman, was naked, and I couldn't think of anything to say. It was just kind of an awkward moment, but you think about that kind of stuff, and when it happens to you, you'd think you'd have something clever to say, but I didn't. Next. The Carbondale Halloween riot fiasco. I can't get into too much detail here, but if the police ever kick a tear gas canister or pepper gas at you, do not kick it back. I mean, you may not need harm. You may just want to get it away from you, but it will only exacerbate the riot, and that's all I can say on this particular story. But Carbondale around Halloween is a good time. That's about it. Next, the brother-on-brother kung fu action and the legend of the two-headed rat, starring the Hales boys and Wine Joe. So we're partying with these rock stars out at their compound out in Woodlawn, Illinois, right? And one of them kicks the other. They're normally very peaceful fellas. And the other thing that happened that night is they told us about this two-headed rat that existed out at the compound. Legends circulating all about it to this day. Next, we have the saga of the burning boat. Me and my attorney, Obi-Wan Kenobi, were out at this fine drinking establishment here called Life's Too Short. Man, do we have any other photos of it? Yes, we do. What a fantastic spot it was. Anyway, we did a few too many out there, and we took a boat out into Lake Michigan. You would think it would go like it would here in this photo, but it didn't. The boat caught fire. A lot of people blame my attorney, pictured here under a very slight disguise. But this is how it wound up for us. A very, very scary time. But survived. Actually jumped in the water with the cell phone, and the cell phone survived. The burning car incident. So my bestie and I are driving. We're young, and we're out in western Kansas. And lo and behold, I should have changed the oil. I should have known better, but our car blows up. Middle of nowhere. The look on his face, he was driving at the time, was just classic. It was so middle of nowhere that the best rendition I could get of a fire truck that pulled up is right here. And then once we were stranded there, we found a laundromat called the Sip and Spin that served booze. It was a bar laundromat, and Slaughter happened to be playing. It was a lot like being in a movie. Up all night, sleep all day. Next, Pimps and Chess, a Paradox, starring, redacted by Lifetime Promise. Sorry, I can't tell you. So we're in a situation where one of our friends, unbeknownst to our knowledge, called up some ladies of the night. We did not want to participate in anything with them. This is many, many, many years ago, decades. And they wanted money anyway, but one of our friends who wants to remain nameless played the pimp in chess and got us out of it by beating him in chess. So, neat to know. Next we have The Donna Incident, starring the horse, my sister, and I, which is odd. So my sister from Ottawa moves up to Rockford and happens to move in with Horse's date, or move into Horse's date's old place, named Donna, who's this girl that just wouldn't stop talking. Anyway, the odds of this, we partied up with her, but the odds of it are like 1 in, several million. That's about, other than the fact that she was super obnoxious, that's about all I can get into on that one too. The drowning of the elderly couple that needed saving. My good friend Sean told me not to use the word hero, so I'm not going to throw that out there. But over here where you see Hit Island on the left, I found a elderly couple. This is not them. This is what the boat's usually used for. Floating down a river, and had to pull them out right before I had a phone interview for the position I have now. Crazy. Next, girls bar fights and the half of ear eaten. So this one stars my friend Davis, her husband, the eldest Clark, and myself. There's Davis there. Not always as friendly as she looks there, though, I might add. So we go out to Mount Vernon, this 3-story bar. It was like 3 nightclubs in one. And this chick fight breaks out. And long story short, the ladies I'm hanging out with, that night had to win by biting off ears, like in Evander Holyfield fashion. And we ended up staying at this hospital here, which they've obviously redone since. Next, the wood chips conundrum. So when the power company asks you if you want some wood chips, say no, because if you just check the form, it may be more wood chips than you're ready to deal with. This is a picture of Nashville, Illinois, where we lived at the time. We checked yes on a form and wound up with these wood chips. A friend of ours had to go get his bobcat and get him out of our yard after the mayor kind of scolded us one day. Next, Kappelman Halloween parties. I had to kind of lump these together, bundle them into one item. Talking about Ottawa circa 95, Carbondale 96, and Shiloh circa 2008. If you were there, you probably don't remember it. We would build pallets, stage out of pallet racking. Had a buddy ride down from Ottawa in the middle of winter on his bike because he didn't want to miss the Carbondale party. I mean, after being at the Ottawa party, who could blame him? Same guy who shall remain nameless here, bonged Mad Dog. And another buddy destroyed a vacuum cleaner in the middle of the party. It was kind of like what we see here, but really more like this, though it wasn't his wife's. Fascinating stuff. One of our professors showed up. He was very impressed. Next, let's go on location to Soulard, baby. Great story. A lot of people don't believe it. The dog urinal event. So there was dog racing downtown. So a lot of, or in Soulard that day, a lot of people brought their dogs to places where they usually wouldn't be able to. So we go into one of our favorites called Lou Ellen's. I know this story is tough to believe, and I admit we were on the beer that day. So we walk into Llewellyn's here, and it's a rare dog-friendly day in Soulard, and, as you can see here. And I admit, we had some drinks, and it was, like a Mardi Gras time of year. This is a picture of the dogs in the race here. But a dog, much like this one here, was standing up at the urinal when I walked in next to his owner. Just peeing in the urinal, a dog in Soulard. I know it's hard to believe. I was there. I didn't see it. All right, next. Rudy, the story of one man's courage. So we're down in Austin, Texas. This one stars Middle Clark, Ray, and Rudy. We're down in Austin, Texas, home of the Longhorns. And we go out to this creek where the college kids are kind of partying during the day, sitting in the water. much like this one here, and this dog comes floating by. Rudy, never having been there, before, jumps in after this dog, is down underwater with the dog for like a minute, and then up pops the dog, and Rudy's holding it up on the top of his hand, extended on the top of his arm. And a next great story is I had this house here, actually the one next to it, but you see how this driveway sloped here? I came home in an ice storm that they have in St. Louis, and my car kind of slid back into the road. But a guy that was living with me was cleaning a deer on the back deck, and cops came in because they saw the car and ended up pulling their gun because they thought it was a murder scene, and that's how I woke up that day. So anyway, those are my 15 strange but true and hard to believe but true stories. Thanks for watching, everybody.